Eric.
And I'm Noah. You're listening to A Bite of,
where we take our current favorite pop culture obsession and enjoy it one nibble at a time.
Second nibble into Secret Invasion.
Just a secret little snack and a nibble of the snack. Invasion.
It's not a snack. It's a meal.
It's an appetizer. The first 2 episodes are the appetizer. The second 2 are the main course. The last 2 are the dessert.
I would not put the end of a series as a dessert. Because what if it's bad?
Ew, then I don't like this dessert. It's terrible. This is sour. I don't want sour. I want sweet.
All right. Second episode into Secret Invasion. Quite a few things to talk about. Lots of lies, lots of revelations, and lots of exposition.
Yes. There were so many conversations in this episode.
So many. Before we get into everything, as always, find us on social media. Anywhere, everywhere. Pick one.
What's your favorite?
Yeah. You'll find us.
Yeah.
Subscribe, leave a review. We love to see those reviews. Let's get more. Give us more. Have you not done it yet? Check your podcast app. Do it.
In the words of Britney, give me more.
Stars.
Give me more.
Stars.
Give me.
Stars.
Yeah. Nice teamwork. High five.
Last but not least, we have a Patreon. We just released our first inaugural episode of Before the MCU with Howard the Duck. And it was quite a journey.
Feelings. We had so many feelings.
It's a great one to start with. The next one's going to be Punisher. So if that is your thing and you want us here, go way back. Go in there. $1 a month or a free trial. They have free trials now. You can trial us. And then if you want to support us, you can do it for real.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Wow.
They do it. Free trial.
So many options.
Yeah. So many.
Shall we take a look back?
Yeah.
All right. So let's take a look back at Secret Invasion Episode 1, Resurrection. Touching down in a field in Russia, Nick Fury reunites with Maria Hill and Talos as they begin to uncover a terrorist plot by a group of Skrulls. Fury is also reunited with British intelligence agent Sonya Falsworth, who says he is different after he returned from the blip. Talos discovers his daughter Gaia is working with the rebel leader Gravik. Gravik's group sets off bombs in a Moscow square where he shoots Maria Hill.
Oops.
Yowzers.
Did you mean to? Yeah, you did.
He totally did. He was waiting for the moment.
All right. From here on out, spoilers. We're going to talk about nothing but Secret Invasion and everything that happens in episode 2. So if you do not want to know the secrets of Secret Invasion, because you don't like secrets, go watch it and come back.
Yeah. So let us officially take a bite of Secret Invasion Episode 2, Promises.
All right. What are your... how do you feel? How do you feel about this episode?
Look, I said in the last episode that I get confused and lost very easily when it comes to spy stuff.
Oh, come on.
Especially when there's so much talking. There was a lot of talking in this one.
Yeah.
I did think it was a little more direct and actionable than the last one. But overall, I'm still waiting to see where things are going to go. I was looking at the Disney Plus description of the episode, and it just says something along the lines of Fury deals with his present and past.
Yeah.
So it feels like
a person.
Or he struggles with his whatever it is, but it's kind of like, do they even know what's going on? I don't know. Everybody seems a little confused still.
That's exactly what a person does. They have a past and they're dealing with their present.
Exactly. That could be the description for any episode of almost anything. Really.
She-Hulk deals with her past and present.
Exactly. Will and Grace deal with their past and present.
Because their past got them to the present.
Exactly. So. Right.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think this episode overall was better than the first one. I liked the first one, but this one felt just more well-rounded. We got some really intense scenes, and it explained a lot of stuff, or kind of gave us things that maybe we didn't know we needed the answers to. But as it being the second episode, it kind of lays the work for more answers to come. And you're right. It's like exposition and no payoff yet.
Yeah.
Which I guess is fine for a second episode.
Sure.
But, towards the end of this episode, we can get into like what we feel like this series needs to do going forward, or where it possibly could go for it to, I don't know, be a good show for us.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. And looking at this episode, and like I said, the last episode ended with presumably the death of Maria Hill. Which,
she's dead.
But where this character who has been in all of these movies was just shot, and then that's sort of it.
Yeah.
Stakes. Like what?
Stakes. I mean, so I guess
beef.
So we don't forget to talk about it, right? There is a scene where Nick Fury confronts Maria Hill's mother, or not confronts her.
They fight.
Yeah.
They fight at her funeral.
As they should. She's getting the casket that has the American flag draped over it. And of course, they won't tell her anything because she's a secret spy agent.
Shield.
Yeah. So they kind of confront each other. This scene was it was fine. But I feel like the reason for this scene was to be like, she's dead. Like, they would not go these lengths to then bring her back. Like, it seems kind of like a waste to do that.
Yeah. If that's the purpose of the scene, okay. But I did think this scene sort of stuck out for not great reasons, in the sense that it was like, have we ever met her mother before? No. She was angry, yes, but still got no answers. It kind of was just, I don't know. It was just maybe another illustration of Fury just having these really crappy relationships all over the world.
Well, to be fair, he doesn't need to have a relationship with the mother. But I think the point of it was literally just be like, oh, you have to confront like your choice as Fury, and putting her in this situation. This is what it's leaving. It was a scene that I think, to tell us like she's definitely dead, they did it right. It's like that's what the scene was for. It was fine. Yeah.
Everyone is furious with him.
Mm-hmm.
That's the truth.
Uh-huh.
Also a great pun.
Yeah. It really was. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Everybody was pun. Like, I didn't think of that.
Nobody's thought to make a pun out of Fury's name at all.
First one ever. Timestamp it.
It was fine. It's a fine scene. It is what it is. I also didn't know it was her mom until like the scene was almost over. I was like, why are they showing this lady? Like, who's in the casket?
Yeah.
I literally forgot Maria Hill died. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Look, she was never like a major player, right? She was there. And when she showed up, we were always like, great, Maria Hill is here. But for you to forget that she died, I mean, that's not doing any service to the character, I feel.
Don't make it seem like she's forgettable. Don't put those words in my mouth.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the show did a piss poor job of making us sad that Maria Hill died.
Yeah, it is. It's kind of funny that the emotional, like, oh, they're telling you that she's dead happened in the second episode after the fact.
Yeah.
It's interesting. But the beginning of this episode, so Promises, starts in 1997, which is 2 years after the events of Captain Marvel. So we got another de-age Samuel L. Jackson / Nick Fury. And I really like it when they get the de-age down, because it looks real and it's kind of terrifying, but it looks great.
He and de-age Talos look fly.
Yeah.
They
I
look
don't
great.
think Talos was really that de-aged, was he?
A little bit. Yeah, they smoothed him out.
Tell. Yeah.
They smoothed him out.
They did the Facetune filter.
Yeah. They did a little pinch. You know what I mean? They did a little brush with the fingertip.
A little less gray in the hair.
Yeah, they also put him in the dark. They knew what they were doing. He was in the darker side of the room.
They do age drastically different than us, so that's why I was like, oh, he still kind of looks a little older. It's fine.
It is sort of funny, though, that the Skrulls like have to age. You know, they can... It's like, well, I guess if I'm living here for a while, I got to look a little different.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Or they could just move and still be young again.
That's true. They can really just change into anybody.
Right.
So this scene really, it tells us what this episode, the title, means, right? We get introduced to younger Gravik's Vera is a Skrull that brings him in. He lost his parents from the last stand with this Skrull and Kree war. And, you know, I liked this scene because I think we've heard it, right? Like he made these promises. We've known these promises. He's going to do this thing for them. But for them to show us him saying it to these refugees, these groups of people that have nothing left, and was like, look, we will help you, but you got to help us. And on top of that, you have to look like us to help us. And you have to stay in that skin. And, we'll find a home. Me and Carol Danvers will find you a home. Did not happen. And I don't blame Gravik for being kind of pissed off about that.
I think it's a shitty ultimatum, ultimately, because they don't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Right? For 2 years, they went to go look for a new home. They were really hopeful. Everywhere they went, they were met with war and violence. And so they ended up back on Earth. But it is sort of shitty of Fury to be like, yeah. No, you could stay here, but you have to like sort of work as a soldier and protect the planet and also look like us. What else are they supposed to do?
I mean, having a secret army and doing that has 100% worked out in the history of history. It's always paid off. It's always a great idea.
100%. But I do have to say that I think that where we are with Gravik now in present day, he like really took that promise to heart, apparently.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? So the Skrulls mature faster. Like they could look younger, but since how they age, right? They obviously are, let's say they're 40, but they still look like Graviks. So there's a maturity thing that happens. And the interesting thing about knowing that is that Gaia and Graviks, how they kind of look at each other and stuff. So they kind of know the situation. It's not like their mind was so young to where they muddy it when they get older and like, this could have happened. Oh, I've gotten over it. It's like fresh for them, right? So you have to think about like how they kind of remember things or how long ago events were. This dude did hold out longer than I would expect somebody to hold out for, but I don't blame him for being upset.
I think the thing with Gravik in this scene of him as a kid, or however old he is, probably a young teenager, we can see that he holds anger close to him. He's not going to let people in willingly.
Lost everybody.
Even when he speaks of his parents, he says that they died like a dazzling death or something like that. So he takes these things to heart. He holds it close to his chest. And so I think that this resentment that he holds against the situation he's in, and then, Fury, who sort of represents it in a way, that's been boiling inside him and has finally bubbled over. And he wants to act on someone breaking their promise.
Yeah. I want to know in this conversation that Talos and Fury have with this group of people or group of Skrulls, he talks about how there's a serious threat facing Earth. And what threat was happening in 1997? I'm curious about that aspect.
Y2K was coming hot down the trail.
That's a good
3 years.
You know what? That's probably it.
The computers are going to go against us.
Or he's probably just like, look, you guys exist. Something else exists. We need help. Like we need to know.
And so maybe that's also part of it, right? There is quite a span of time that we're not aware of where maybe they did help defend the Earth.
Oh, well, they 100%
did, and
right?
They didn't get what was promised to them.
Yeah. This episode does have an interesting kind of bomb that's thrown into just how the MCU is and what's there and everything. And the scene with Talos and Nick Fury on the train, which I thought was a good scene. I liked the two scenes where Nick Fury was with the singular character and they're talking. So we have the Rhodey scene and the Talos scene. And I liked how they mirrored each other. And this one in particular, Talos, so Nick Fury plays the tell me something I didn't know game that he used to play with his mom in the segregated train. Talos decides to just be like, oh yeah, I sent a signal out to space and 1 million Skrulls are here now, but it's fine. We were 5,000 maybe at the beginning. Now
it's a Facebook friend of a Facebook friend of a Facebook friend.
Yeah. And they all came. The Emperor Skrull, all of the ones that didn't stay with him are now here. And it's fine, Fury. I can't, like, a million might not sound that bad. That's a nation's worth of people.
That's a nice sized army.
That's
who, may have procreated and created more little soldiers.
But it begs the question of, like, where are they?
Oh, Mama, they're everywhere.
Well, right.
This whole planet.
How does Talos know that there's a million of them? It's crazy. Like that to me was like, oh, that's not okay. That's a lot.
And we really see Nick's fury in this scene. You love it.
Mm-hmm.
You love it. I can tell by your facial expression. You really enjoy my jokes. Oh, God. He got a soundboard. I personally think I should be in charge of the soundboard, but I guess not. Can I get my own little pad of sounds? I'm going to look into that.
Only you would be able to hear it, though.
Only you can prevent forest fires.
Yeah. But so the million Skrulls, it's a problem, right? Especially with what they're trying to do in the show is take over the planet. We don't know how many are on Gravik's side, how many are just in normal people's life, like they're just living their life. I also want to know, in the scene where they all pledged their allegiance to Fury and his cause, and they shape-shifted into people, like, those are people that exist.
Agree. Yeah, I want to know about that too.
So, like, I guess they're just doppelganger. Like, hopefully you never run into your other, the person that you're stealing the face from.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the rule is you start in one country, you steal the person's face, and then you have to move to another country.
Probably. I mean, that would be smart, right? It's like, go to another country where this person would definitely never be. That would be the smart thing.
Yeah.
But a million of them, no social media for you guys.
I also, well, yeah. How do you get a job? I don't know. But I just, like, who gave Fury the decision-making power to just, I don't know, welcome aliens, like welcome Skrulls onto our planet? But, like, it all goes through Fury?
Yeah, he's the head honcho guy. Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like he has a little bit too much power.
Well, he doesn't now. So, like, S.H.I.E.L.D. is gone. So I would say he's more of like a weird government contractor type situation. I don't know if I would trust a government contractor to, like, head the development of the space defense system. It's unclear exactly what Fury is at this moment. I don't know if they just, like, let him do things still because he's Fury.
He's just like the, like, grandpa that comes down. He's like,
rude.
We got Skrulls. And they're like, okay, grandpa.
That's so rude.
Well, look, the thing is that people are no longer trusting him. He's made an enemy of Gravik because he didn't come through on his promise. He ends up throwing Talos off the train. There's another one of his allies.
I feel like that's fair.
Killed Maria Hill.
He did not. His face did.
And then we see in the scene with Rhodey, there's another allegiance that's broken. He's basically just sort of this guy that everybody's like, you're being ridiculous.
Well, I think that's the point, right? They have to do that in this show. They have to separate him and isolate him because that's going to raise the, like, thriller suspense. He has nobody left to trust type of thing, which then us leaves nobody to trust. Like, who's he going to call? Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
Yeah. See. Yeah.
So it's basically Mission Impossible 1 with Tom Cruise, where, like, his team disappears and he doesn't know who he can trust.
This is a taunt spy thriller with aliens. Yes.
Sci-fi thriller.
Yeah.
Sci thriller.
In the conversation that Talos and Nick Fury have, he says something interesting to Talos when he finds out that there's a million of them. And he tells him, he's like, oh, no, humans have been fighting with each other since they could walk. We can't have another species here. Like, there's no way. I find that weird to say, because did they not just welcome a bunch of Asgardians into New Asgard? Like, they're living here. They're a different species.
It's speciest.
And also, is this like planting the seeds for the mutants to come because they're a different species? I don't know.
So Nick Fury ends up hanging out with Magneto.
How?
I don't know.
Yeah, connect those dots.
There are no dots.
I want to see you connect those dots.
There are no dots.
But I find it interesting that it's like, did you guys forget about all of these? And it's not even like the Asgardians have shown that they can't be trusted. Loki literally invaded Earth with the Shatari. I don't like.
Apparently, that's not Nick Fury's jurisdiction.
Well, he should have jurisdiction everywhere.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand what is his power? Is he making all of these decisions? And if so, why is he picking and choosing certain groups that can just start new societies and other ones that have to be his army?
Well, it is interesting, right? Like he's building a space station that's supposed to know about these things. So it's like, okay, from Captain Marvel to now, 1 million Skrulls showed up at some point. When? Was it during the blip?
Possibly. So then does that mean that there's like 1 million other Skrulls somewhere else, the other half that got blipped, that are now going to come and also enjoy their time on Earth?
There's only 2 million left, and half of them are here.
Maybe they should just live on a ship. Build a giant space station.
Saber.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, because everybody else is throwing them away and like telling them they can't be there and meeting them with violence. I think they should just live on a spaceship.
Well, you know who might need to live on a spaceship from now on? Nick Fury, because Rhodey fired him from.
Yeah. Here's another ally. So Talos and him on the train, they scream at each other and he makes Talos get off. And then Rhodey doesn't want anything to do with him either.
Yeah, the scene with, he's kind of acting like early Rhodey, like where he was still fully in the military and everything. And, even when he was like, Slovakia's like, I'm going to get in the suit and carpet bomb them if they look at me weird. It's very it's very military mode now. It's not prior to Rhodey getting hurt in an Iron Man anymore.
The personal growth has since gone out the window.
I think ever since, it is going to be interesting to see how the heroes that were here before the snap and Thanos and everything, how they're going to process a lot of things. It looks like Rhodey is just throwing himself into the work. Like he's fully, I'm going to be the representative for the United States. He cannot make it.
Yeah, he is just completely into his new role. But it's, here we see one of our, so far, our one, hero, Avenger here, not really being an Avenger.
Yeah, he's full. I want to know. I guess we won't know until Armor Wars, right? The show that was supposed to be a show and now it's going to be a movie. This is supposed to tie into it. So I'm curious to see his growth into that next thing where he's going to be the titular character for that. This scene with him talking to this mini UN of accusing the United States of being the people that actually did it, which we know it's not, but we know Skrulls are there posing as them. The scene with Nick Fury and Rhodey, I was going to call him Don Cheadle, but with Rhodey.
Truly who he is.
Yeah, he is. I liked this scene in the aspect of like, Nick Fury is assuming he still has that ally, the Avenger. But Rhodey's like, oh no, I volunteered for the opportunity to come and tell you, like, you're done and like you need to stop. Like you were there.
Better a friend is delivering this news than a stranger.
Is it? Like
that's what he feels like. That's what Rhodey thinks, at least. He's like, no, I thought I should come and do this.
Nick Fury even tries to like appeal to like both of them being black men, and he's like, no, like even more so, like, no, we're not the same. I'm not going to help you.
It's really bizarre seeing that they obviously have a history together, and Rhodey just being like, well, you were there, so we have to get rid of you. Like, he's not sticking up for him in any way. He's not trying to figure out what's really going on. He's just trying to get rid of him.
Yeah, and I want to, I can't really think of a scene where they've really been together on screen before. Obviously, they have a more intimate setting here. And I believe Rhodey hung up the phone during like whenever the Sokovia Accords were happening, everything. At first he was going to be on one side and then he like came to and was not. So I'm curious where this like kind of off-puttedness is to like that whole Avengers thing.
I mean, is there a piece of it that it could possibly be he's doing it to protect Fury?
That is a good point. But he said something where I think when Nick Fury was telling him about the Skrulls, it seemed like Rhodey was kind of like, yeah, I know. So it's like, wait, what? So are you guys just not gonna do anything? So I don't know the conversation, right? We talked in the first one, and this whole thing is gonna spark like, who is a Skrull? I don't know if after this, I don't believe he's a Skrull or do believe he's a Skrull. It's hard to tell. Like, it's like, oh, that is Rhodey, but also he could be acting to protect Nick Fury. I don't know. There's too many bodyguards around him. I feel like one of them is definitely a Skrull. I don't know if it's Don Cheadle.
The whole scene itself was just incredibly cold, especially between two characters that we believe have some history together. So there is some other layer happening, right? Something else is definitely going on. But I think that in this instance, in this moment, we don't know what it is. It's just at face value, Fury losing another ally.
Yeah, that's true. I did like the line that Nick Fury delivered when he was leaving. And because Rhodey was like, you're out. And he goes right up to him and he's like, when I'm out, I'm in. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Bitch.
Yeah. Motherfucker.
Yeah.
That's what it needed.
Say to my face. That's what it felt like.
I also didn't like that Secret Service or whatever bodyguard going up to Nick Fury to escort him out.
Oh, yeah. And then he like cracks his arm or whatever he did to his arm.
Deserved it.
Yeah.
You don't tell Samuel L. Jackson / Nick Fury.
Also, where are you escorting him out of? The empty bar? No one's around. Calm down.
He's done. He fired him. Get him out.
Yeah. I mean, you're not at the office. They don't need you to clear your desk. You're in a random bar. Chill out, everyone.
I'm excited to see, or I guess hesitant to see where else Rhodey will show up in the series. If he's going to play more of the secretly trying to protect Fury role or more of an antagonist or self-interest thing, kind of like what Falsworth is doing.
Well, we know the president is going to have to show up at some point again, and Rhodey seems to be his right-hand person. So Rhodey's going to be in it. But again, and like we've been saying, it feels like very much the point of this series is who can you trust?
Yeah, I feel like they're falsely leading us in directions, specifically with conversations like this, having Talos and Nick Fury kind of separate a little bit. So is he going to then be replaced by another Skrull, and it's like a Skrull playing a Skrull of Talos in human form? Who knows? But these are the types of situations that could happen. And that's what's terrifying about the Skrulls, right? It's like, it could be Rhodey this whole time. But then on his way back to the United States, he could get replaced by a Skrull, and we wouldn't know until the reveal. So that's kind of what I'm enjoying about this series, but I don't like it when they play games with us.
Yeah. We're just little toys. We're pawns. I get there could be a shot, right, of all of those mind flayer things that they have in Moscow and us seeing who actually is stuck in that. So we will know.
That's what I'm waiting for.
Right?
I feel like that's going to be the type of scene that we see for this like earth shattering. They've been a Skrull or they're a Skrull now. You know, I think
we're going to be like, oh my God, it's Maria. Oh my God, it's Rhodey. Oh my God, it's whoever. We're going to be so surprised.
I think the whole conversation of like who could be a Skrull before the super Skrull stuff is being done now, right? It's in this episode. We're really seeing that they're advancing that type of advancement for their army and their cause. So if we were to say, oh, this person's been a Skrull prior to this for it to be like earth shattering or whatever, because that's what apparently we were promised, I think it narrows it down to people that don't have powers, because the Skrulls can't mimic the powers. So it would have to be somebody that doesn't. And that kind of wipes a lot of people off the board, because most of the people that don't have powers are kind of dead.
Sure. But it's pretty much the entire cast of this show.
Yeah.
So
Gaia, Skrull, we know.
Well, that one we got. Win.
Yeah.
But so check one for that. But I mean, everybody else is pretty much fair game.
What did you think about the scene with Sonya Falsworth and her interrogation tactics with, I believe that Skrull's name was Brogan. Could be wrong,
Brogan.
but I'm pretty sure it was Brogan, the guy that was the American.
Yes, I'm going, why does he keep saying that? What defense is that, especially in Russia? I don't think that's going to help you in any way.
You know why?
Why?
Because he's telling the Russians that it was America that did it.
Oh.
That's why he kept saying it.
Right, because they're plotting different groups from all over the world. Okay, got it.
That's that spy espionage stuff.
This is, that Gravik. He knows what he's doing. But that scene was, I loved how composed she was as she was like, cutting his finger off.
Oh my God. The swiftness and like nonchalantness and how fast she pruned his finger off. I was like, one, you're strong.
This isn't her first time.
She's pruned many a finger.
Yes. First, and anytime any spy movie or show ends up at a butcher shop, it's never gonna be good.
Those are all the people that they interrogated before.
Those ain't pigs. Those are humans. Watch out what you're eating.
It was cool to see, like, when she pruned his finger off, she was still holding it and it turned back into a Skrull finger.
Yeah, and then she ate it.
No. She's like, get me a sausage. And
she said, a little treat. Delicious.
But I like how that's how she decided that it was a Skrull. She's like, oh, well, that's solved now, isn't it? Olivia Colman is killing it as this character. I love how you can't really, it's almost like that Umbridge status.
Yes, it's almost Umbridgian.
Yeah. Where it's like, she's terrifying, but I like her character and she's driving the plot in a direction I like.
It's that proper English woman in a tweed suit who is doing despicable things, but with a smile on her face.
Yeah, she loves it. Injects him with pretty much like liquid lava.
Oh my God, blood boiling solution.
So now she knows that there is some type of advancement to do Super Skrulls or experimentation or whatever, or at least a direction. I feel like the series from here on out is really going to be about stopping the Skrulls from getting that ability.
But why is no one working together?
Because it's all self-interest and humans suck. That's
yeah, pretty much.
This scene, though, I did like that we got more Gravik and we got to actually see him not just press a button and kill like 2,000 innocent civilians, but like show that, oh, he's skilled in hand-to-hand combat.
He lifted a guy up and put him on a meat hook.
Again, those were past people.
I did not like that part either. It was very terrible.
It was jarring. This whole scene was jarring because, we got so much exposition. There hasn't been, this is really the only action set piece in the entire episode. And it was good. I thought the choreography was good. The like very clean going into a room, taking out the people in there, but then also having it with that like kind of shocking gory factor. It's just great. I love that type of thing because it's just so different from like, the political, mystery behind the whole thing. It's like, these people can actually like go toe to toe with each other.
And that's part of the thing with Gravik, though, right? Is that we have now seen that he is sort of a master manipulator. He is physically fit, and he is also like the lead of this like Skrull council that exists.
That scene, perfect. I loved it. It's just like, I thought it was like a really cool scene, one of the best ones that we've gotten in like most of the Disney Plus shows. I know that might sound weird, but I just loved the like younger guy coming into like this fold and being like, I've already infiltrated this whole thing. Just give me the power. This like unchecked and balanced general for the entire Skrull army, essentially. It's just not good.
And it's like, and he's dealing with Skrulls that are like the prime minister of the UK, the, head of NATO, like these Skrulls that have really risen to human power, and he still has the hold on them.
What's interesting is that, so this was the council that Talos was a part of. So that was like, were they already those people like in those positions of power? Right? So it's like, did they replace the people and now they're Skrulls, or were they Skrulls and rose to the ranks?
Right. I guess in my mind, they were Skrulls who rose to the ranks, but I think you're right. They probably just took over people who were in power.
Right? That's what the crazy thing about this. And I kind of like that the Skrulls arrived 30 years ago, because then it makes sense, at least for Talos' side, to have some deniability that like, oh no, they've been Skrulls this whole time. Like they're faking it, but yeah, it's the prime minister. They've been a Skrull this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're already helping to lead this world. Chill out, Nick.
But this really spells disaster for the rest of the thing, because most of them, except for one person, which I'm not too sure her role, they didn't really say.
So surprised that he didn't kill her.
Yet.
I mean, true. But that was like, I thought as soon as she walked out that door, it was over for her.
That's what I thought too. I thought she was going to die before she even could get on the phone and warn Talos about whatever's happening, because he took the second that he found out that Brogan, pretty sure that's his name, if not whatever.
We're going with it.
We're going with it. Killed him the second he found out, he let any information slip. So it is interesting that he decided not to kill her.
Maybe because she's in a position of power and he still needs her there, even if she doesn't necessarily agree with what they're doing.
Get another scroll. Make it be her.
Oh, yeah. I mean, this shape-shifting, it really leaves so many options open. Maybe, okay. So maybe he knew that she would reach out to Talos. And this also leads me to the question of, he's keeping Gaia close, but far enough away that she never really knows the inner workings of what's going on.
True.
So it feels like he's using Gaia and Talos as pawns in his plan.
He has to be.
He knows he needs them.
Yeah, he didn't tell Gaia at all about the Super Scroll stuff, which you would think she seems to be like almost like a right hand.
Right, like a second in command or something.
Yeah, and not to tell her that, it's not good news. But that's a good point. It feels like, I mean, we have to assume that since he was so young when he came here, it seems like Nick Fury and him were close in some way. So maybe
they bumped foreheads.
Well, maybe he trained him in some type of like espionage type stuff, so he can play the chess game. He can play the game. And that's not great.
No. I mean, in episode 2, it seems that the pieces of Gravik's puzzle are coming together.
Yeah.
And that's not good for Nick Fury and, humanity.
No, especially the Super Skrulls. Can we talk about that for a second?
Hey.
So shocker, again, huge fan of the Fantastic Four. The Super Skrull, Clerk, has all the powers of the Fantastic Four in one scroll. Terrifying, not great. Somebody should not have all that power. Since the Fantastic Four do not exist yet, or aren't introduced, they can't simply get the powers of Invisible Woman or Reed Richards or whatever. So what the MCU is doing is substituting those for things that have happened or appeared in the past. We got Groot. And
Good old Groot.
We saw all this on a computer screen as Gaia was doing her digging.
Yeah, like an MS-DOS computer screen.
Why did they do that? Sorry to segue. Not really. Why do they do that in sci-fi stuff? Like even today, I get it in Alien during Ridley Scott's Alien.
Like the 80s, right?
Right. It should look like that. But even now, during like sci-fi stuff, they still have it.
The only thing I can think of is like, because
it's simple.
It's like they don't really have the meat. They're in like a shell of a radioactive plant, so maybe they can't get like the highest tech.
They couldn't get the FiOS guy to come out.
Yeah, they can't get like MacBooks or anything like that. They're not going to Best Buy or whatever Russia's Best Buy is. So they just can kind of take what they can get.
Okay, fair point.
I know, but it's still like, I don't know. I wouldn't question it if they had a nicer monitor.
Right. Now I'm questioning it because they didn't have a nicer monitor.
Agreed.
But so we saw Groot, and these are all people that apparently they have some type of sample with, and they're experimenting with this machine that's giving people ability or Skrulls abilities. So we have Groot, Frost Beast, which has not appeared since Thor: The Dark World. So this is way back.
Everybody's favorite.
Cole Obsidian, member of Thanos' Black Order and Avengers Infinity War. His arm got cut off in Central Park, I believe, by Wong when Doctor Strange and Spider-Man and everything were fighting him. So that's probably how they got that sample. And then Extremis from Iron Man 3, Guy Pearce. I don't like to talk about that movie. It is what it is.
Leave it where it is in the past.
But how, like, they had to include it somewhere. They're like, Iron Man 3 existed. We have to include it in something else.
Don't forget.
But so they essentially got Groot stretchy powers, Frost Beast, which I guess is Sue. I don't know how. Cole Obsidian, which is big and strong and rocky, the Thing. And then Extremis, which is Johnny Storm, because it's fire breath.
Fire.
So it's going to be
They put it together. I mean, and we do see in the trailer, right? We saw in the trailer that we saw him stretching in some capacity with vines, as you put it. So that's our Groot.
That is, I think in our Before You Watch episode, I literally said that looks like Groot's powers. And I'm kind of annoyed that they showed it. Because now, like, seeing Groot on the screen, I was like, yeah, okay. We also saw Cole Obsidian's name on a thing. I'm like, you guys gave away a little too much in the trailer.
Yeah, so maybe the question now is how many of them are going to get this quartet of power?
Well, that's the thing, right? Are they going to get all of them? One of them? Are they going to test it?
I don't understand how Nick Fury is supposed to defeat these
This is
Super Skrulls.
This is my thing. So, you know, we'll talk about more of, like, we have like one major thing, obviously, to talk about: the wife in the room. That we have to talk
the
about.
Wedding ring on the table.
But then we'll talk about kind of like where this series is possibly going, especially with the things we learned from this one. But like Nick Fury, I don't think could stand up to a Super Skrull. So somebody is going to have to come in. I don't know who that is. If it's a War Machine, okay, I guess
he could fly above them and shoot.
Well, he could stand up to them, right? But it's kind of like, oh, I want somebody else. Maybe Monica Rambeau. She's somewhere. Like,
that'd be baller. I mean, freaking Captain Marvel can come, right? He mentioned Carol in the 97 flashback.
Wherever she is.
You know, she's always flying somewhere. She probably gave him a new pager at some point.
Apparently not finding them a home. That's what she's doing.
Lazy. You had one job.
She went away, came back, and had a haircut and still didn't find them a home.
Typical Carol. But listen, not to go back to the beginning, but to find an entire new home world in 2 years they gave up.
Well,
not going to be that easy, everyone.
I don't think they gave up.
They were like,
that's when they
it's too hard.
That's when they actually promised.
Like, okay. What do you mean? All right. So, but he didn't put a timeline on that. So
you would think, though, from
20 years have passed.
From 1995 to when 2025, I guess this is when it's taking place. Yeah. They'd find something. Like, I believe Nowhere, where the Guardians of the Galaxy have been, is kind of a safe haven. So try there.
30 years later. No good.
All right. So the Skrull in the room, who is also Priscilla Fury, who is also his wife. We knew he had a wife, or a lot of people might have forgotten he had a wife. He told Steve that he had a wife, and he was like, I don't know you had a wife. And he's like, I don't tell people. That was the only thing we got ever. And now we finally see who his wife is. And it turns out she's a Skrull. The way they shot this scene, it makes you think that he doesn't know that she's a Skrull. But I don't believe that for a second.
I think he knows she's a Skrull. I think that they fell in love. Okay, so this man loses all of his allies and then finally decides to go home, wherever this is. And she's like just making dinner. And she's like, welcome back.
Put your ring on.
Yeah, they must have communicated from the ship. I don't understand this relationship at all.
Well, so what I think had happened, right, is this Skrull looks very much like Vera from the beginning. And I believe it's the same person. The thing that makes it confusing, and I feel like the creators of the show are messing with us, is they purposefully omitted who plays Vera out.
Right.
So in case, because since she plays both of them, if people found out, they'd be like, oh, his wife is a Skrull. It would have gotten out before this. So I feel like that is his wife in the beginning. So we can clearly see when they met. The weird thing, though, and I don't know if you caught this, on her hand, it looks like there's some type of ring back in 1997. So either he very quickly wooed her, or she was already with somebody and he wooed her after that. But I'm assuming that's when they met, is when they were working together then.
Maybe they met in 95.
Right.
Had a 2-year romance.
And gave her a ring.
And got married. Because the way that she talks to him in the 97 scene, there is familiarity there. There's trust there. She's coming to him saying, there's this young boy here. So there's something between them. It's not just this random Skrull that's there. They obviously have a working relationship.
Right,
kids? Exactly. They obviously have a working relationship. And maybe there's something to be said of, because she's with Nick Fury, she had to create a new identity, and that new identity was Priscilla.
That would make sense, right? And that's probably why he doesn't wear a ring when he's out, because heaven forbid any of his enemies, Hydra or whatever, found out that he was married.
Right.
They go directly after her.
And is there anything to say that Skrulls don't have to look exactly like one specific person?
No, they can change.
Right. But my thing is she could possibly have just made a new identity and taken what this person's eyes look like and what this person's hair looks like.
I see.
Do you know what I mean? Like, do they have to be a whole person, or can they pick and choose what their features look like?
I don't know. In the comics, I don't think that's ever happened. I obviously could be wrong, because comics are infinite at this point. But I believe they copy a whole person. So, but I don't know how it works. I mean, I'm assuming in the MCU, because of what we've seen, like they would use that trick already. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming that
we have to believe that they take an entire identity.
Right. Yeah. Right. That's what I would assume. But that's a good point. Like a patchwork person.
Right. I mean, if they can shapeshift, why can't they just make a new person?
Yeah. I don't know. Hello?
But I mean, regardless of the theories of, the science of shapeshifting, he has a wife that we never knew about, and they have a beautiful home together. Yeah. And she's just patiently been waiting for him.
Yeah. I would. Is it a safe house? Because he's still in Russia, right?
No, he went to London to meet Rhodey.
Right.
And then he left.
Drove somewhere. So we don't know. I don't think we know at this point. But it's somewhere maybe in Europe.
London. Right outside of London.
But I mean, hey, that's cool that he's married, and I love that for him. And it's a Skrull of all things. And hey, he did tell Talos that he's seen better looking Skrulls, and apparently he married one.
I don't understand their relationship. I need a flashback episode.
You want how they met and everything. Yeah. I feel like since they're introducing his wife now, I don't think that's good.
She's gonna die. Rip.
I mean, I could be wrong, and I hope I'm wrong. But typically in these types of situations, and usually, like the James Bond types and the spies, the Ethans, Mission Impossible, they don't typically, their partner
doesn't make it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get to.
She's already a super Skrull, and she is the secret weapon.
Oh, sorry, Nick Fury.
I mean, he needs help.
All right.
He needs some help.
He has Priscilla.
That's it.
So how this show, I think it's set up quite a bit, but still it has so much more to go. I am curious to see what the end goal of this is. Obviously, it's to stop the invasion, stop Gravik. Who is going to help Fury in that? I'm not too sure. I know Talos. Everybody knows Talos is going to help him. We've seen scenes of that happening. But is Falsworth going to join his ranks? Is Rhodey going to join his ranks?
I feel like Gaia's going to come around at some point.
And that's the curious thing. That's the thing I'm curious about. So if he does get powers, which we know he does, who's going to fight him? And I hope it's not Gaia.
She's going to die.
Dia.
Yeah. She's going to die.
But then, you could probably guess that maybe two Skrulls are going to fight each other that have some type of power or something. I don't know. But that's I just hope it doesn't turn into like another CGI fight at the end with like
Groot vines everywhere.
right. It's like it would be better if they brought Monica in and had her, because then it would tie directly into the Marvels with her working with Fury.
Right.
That's kind of where I'm hoping it goes.
Yeah. I'm almost wondering if these 6 episodes are just an introduction to the Secret Invasion. Is it possible that they're not actually going to stop it by the end of this series?
I think it's 100% possible. But then we also have to think of like what's coming out that they've announced. Like what could tie into it, So like, I mean, I know we have Secret Wars, which they could 100% change what that's about.
Secret Invasion, Secret War.
There you go.
Secret Victory. Secret Deceit.
What is this? I'm curious, like just 2 episodes in, what does this series have to do for you? Like going forward, or like something that you want to like make it, oh, okay, that was a good series, like a stamp of approval from Derek.
From Derek? Oh gosh.
Yeah.
I think it needs a little. So this episode was a lot of exposition. Like we were saying, I get lost in exposition. So for me, I need more concrete. I need more
pieces moving in
a certain direction. And granted, we are only 2 episodes in. This is only a third of the series, but now we only have 2/3 left to make something actually happen.
Yeah, and it's a one and done too. So like this is the series.
Yeah.
Right.
So I think I need some more concrete things to happen. I need 1 or 2 of these veils lifted, and really to see some movement to what our final chapter here is going to be. How about you?
Yeah, I mean, kind of the same, right? It's like I see maybe where they're going. This was an improvement from the first one, and I liked the first one. So if the third one is an improvement from these 2, it's kind of like a home run or like a home stretch from here. I hope that they give Nick Fury and Samuel Jackson a good story in the end. Like right now, I'm kind of like, it's fine. I feel like the acting is a little wobbly. There's some fantastic scenes and fantastic performances. I want a little more of that. I want to know more about Fury and what's really driving him to do a lot of this stuff and to go against, doing what he's supposed to be doing.
I agree with that. I think Fury as our main character hasn't been leading the action a lot. In fact, he's kind of just been getting thrown into vans and thrown into rooms and being talked at by people.
Yeah.
So I need him to pick up the mantle of this series.
I feel like, some of that might have been intentional, which we won't know until like a Christopher Nolan-esque thing of like this whole time he's been like gaming to get to this thing or whatever. Yeah, I agree. It's kind of like the things are happening around him and he's more reacting to them, which isn't terrible, but I want just a little tiny bit more of Nick moving
Fury.
those pieces. And I think, what?
Nick's Fury.
Yeah, no. But also, yes, because I think even in the trailer, it had the title cards of like, no, whatever, only Fury. And it's like, give me the Fury.
Where's the burn? Where's the fire? Where's the Fury? We're waiting.
Not until the Super Skrull comes with extremist powers.
Maybe he gets thrown into the machine and then also gets Super Skrull powers.
God.
Super Fury powers.
That's fine.
I'm down with that.
De-ages him.
Yes, his eye heals. It's like American Horror Story Coven when she was blind, and then the last episode she was fine by the end.
That was the one thing in the whole thing I did not like in that show. I was like, really? Like, why make her blind in the first place?
And now she's like, I'm fine again.
Yeah.
All right. Balenciaga. Nick Fury has to have his Balenciaga moment.
At the stake.
At the stake. Yes.
Oh my God. All right. So excited for 3. We're halfway through. This is like so far like a B- for me. I want it to be a little more. I want that spy espionage, like hardcore stuff.
Yeah, I think unfortunately for my grade of it, these types of shows aren't my favorite types. So I'm giving it like a C+.
That's fine. It's still passing.
Yeah, it's like a 75. 78-ish.
I think you only need like a 65 to pass. So.
Depends on the school. Depends on the school.
It's a pass or fail class here.
Pure F, man.
All right. So till next week.
Ooh, secrets. Thanks for listening to A Bite of. Artwork and editing by our own Noah. Be sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter at A Bite of Pod, and on Facebook at A Bite of. If you have any questions, recommendations, or just want to say hi, you can contact us on abiteofpod.com. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to spread the word. See you next time on A Bite of. Bye.